I've got so many things I want us to cover, but I will read something that's, thank you. I will read something that's on my wall. And I may have done it before, but I'll read it again. It says, attract what you expect. That is true. The law of attraction is very powerful, y'all. Attract what you expect, reflect what you desire, okay? And become what you respect. Now that one I wish would ring very loud and clear across this TikTok platform. And the last part of that is mirror what you admire. So you get back what you give out, right? So let's all be nice and be kind and help each other, and you know, those types of things. So, but anyway, just want to throw that in there. So my first guest tonight is Voices for Justice, Danielle. I think I saw her there. She and I are going to be talking about the FBI. So that's the one thing that we've been waiting on, aren't we? All patiently waiting, going, when is this thing going to happen? Well, I was talking with a friend of mine who actually knows a retired FBI agent who actually explained that, you know, these things can take a long time, okay? So expecting something to come up very soon, you know, is may not be what's going to happen. Not arrest you and then come back and try to prove, make their proofs, okay? They thank y'all so much. There she comes. So what they do is they get all their evidence, all their ducks in a row before they ever do that. They get a solid case before they go. We don't want them to rush. So please focus on the coercive control law and getting it passed, and also seeing about getting involved in you know, DV shelters and making sure that you're donating things, clothing, items, food, stuff like that. You know, thank you so much. So be a part of that. Danielle, Voices for Justice, Danielle. How are you, honey? Okay, are we going to get to see your face, or we're going to look at your, what do you call that thing? Your profile picture. There you are. How are ya? Doing good. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on and doing this with me. And also, was to let everybody know that we talked earlier in the week, and you and I did a project together, and that's what you're going to help me with too. But so I wanted to read. I had reached out to one of the what they call the case team members at the FBI, and just asking them, because you know, things are at a little different place. And so I just asked, you know, I've gotten some information that I've been passing along. I still get these tips that come in sometimes, and I pass all this stuff along to the FBI. But this is what they said to me. It's like, Regina, they can submit information to us through tips.fbi.gov. Again, that's tips, tips.fbi.gov. Or call the FBI toll-free number, which is 1-800-CALL-FBI, okay? He said that many people have used those channels, okay, to send information, and that anytime they receive anything through that it's all sent directly to, as he said, the case team for processing, and they do look at everything that comes through, okay? So now, having said that, Danielle, you helped me figure out how that process works. You want to explain that to us? Okay. Oh, that's okay. I've actually been wanting to try to learn that too. So, uh, okay. I just saw somebody had a question. Said, "What about if you have things to upload?" And that's actually part of what we're going to talk about too. There is not a way to do that on the FBI tips.gov site, right, Danielle? Hmm. So the alternative to that is they also have on the website where you click on the contact button and get that information. They said you can submit things to your local where your local office, I guess, investigative office. And oh, thank you so much. And so you can actually submit the I guess the paper version of that. But if it's an electronic thing, we'll have to do something different. All right, are you there yet? Okay. Uh-huh. Oh, thank you for the cake. That looks ominous. Looks- Okay. Hmm. They don't. Yeah, they didn't really fit because they talk like online scams and other specific things. So yeah, I agree with you on that. Oh, thank you for the follow, Sarah. Yeah, because they want to make sure that hi Peaches, like thank you. Let me know if you can pop up sometime. I know you're busy, but I appreciate it. So anyway, basically they want to make sure that that people are not utilizing that when they have an emergency type situation. Kind of like if you think you're calling the police or something, you're not calling the FBI whenever you do that. So you're submitting. It's like an online electronic submission kind of a point. Mhm. Mhm. Right. Yeah. And sometimes it feels a little misleading, like when you're given, not misleading, but when it says, where did the crime, if you have information that's related to something, then you may not, it kind of feels odd, I think, to answer that question at least. Yeah. Yeah, they want to make sure that you're a real person, and obviously, on top of that, that if they need to follow up with you on whatever tip that you've submitted, so you want to make sure you give that information. It probably won't allow you to submit it without it, I would assume as well. Yeah. Okay. Just want to remind everybody to tap that screen and get us some likes, please. Danielle spent a lot of time putting this together for us. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. I was laughing because of Sweet Peaches. She says, tap, 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 no nap. She always comes up with the best little things. Hi, Heather. I just saw you said that too. Just Heather. Okay, where are we now? What screen is that? Yes, that's a good idea. If you ain't tapping, you like it. Nice. You get that check mark. Okay. Do you actually get an email after that or anything, acknowledging the submission? Okay. Well, it did ask for email address though, correct? Yeah. I didn't know if it had like a automatic, sometimes you get those automatic emails that says, hey, we received your submission. So I wasn't sure. So it's probably a good idea to do what you did. And that was either screenshot or get your PDF, like you said, of what you submitted. That way you have a record of what you submitted. Okay. Okay. Well, it's actually a different kind of a format that's being used by the FBI anyway, so that may be it. So then the question becomes, if you have things that you want to submit, like some people may have video or specific documents, there didn't seem to be a way to do that, did there? Yeah. Yeah. So what I would suggest on that is to call the tips line and explain that to them. Anybody who has any information they or documents or video or things like that they want to upload or submit, then I think that would probably be the way to do it. And see, because I don't know if they put it in a specific field office or it probably goes to wherever it's related to, whoever's assigned to the case, that kind of thing. Okay, well, that's awesome. Thank you very much. Anything else on that you can think of that will help everybody out? I know. Yeah, and actually, you said you had a bunch of things coming up that was happening this week, I think. What else were you doing this week? Okay. Uh, yes, and the sign said what? There you go. I know I saw you put one out in front of the courthouse even, I think it was, wasn't it? Good job. Well, that's awesome. Well, I can't thank you enough. I appreciate everything and you helping me out with that and explaining it to everybody. That means a lot. And especially for you to have someone to walk all the way through so you kind of know what to expect. Because I know when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, goodness, what's next? What's next? So thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. All right. Well, I hope you stick around. Okay. Thank you again. Um, okay. So some of the other things we're going to talk about is okay, so some of the other things we're going to talk about is, of course, I got Veronica Jokestar. She's going to be coming on here in just a few minutes. So another thing is that we were going to talk about is that wedding. I'm kind of curious to know what everybody else thinks. So what had happened was that someone had reached out to me and said, "What do you think about the situation where Mr. Miller says that we saw these pictures of, I don't know, like a proposal or engagement on the beach or something, and then we saw pictures of what appeared to be a wedding, okay? Looked like a ceremony, at least anyway, right? Looked like an official there too. So basically, this statement says, well, he says that he's married to someone else and can't be married to her, to Susie. And I'm like, I wonder what that means. Okay. So thinking about patterns and method of operation. So with Micah and John Paul or Mr. Miller, they actually eloped first and then had a ceremony later. So, as you know, with him being involved in the church and so forth, my speculation is basically this: that whenever Micah passed away, he didn't consider himself not married anymore. He was a widower when you're a guy. So I think that in his mind, he's probably still married to her. So therefore he can't be married to anybody else, at that time. So basically I think he's flipped it. And instead of going eloping and then having a ceremony, I think maybe he's doing the reverse and had the ceremony and then later we'll get actually married. So there's a possibility of that. I don't have any real information. That's just me speculating, putting some things together. So I was looking to see what else anybody else had to say about that. Oh my goodness. So could he be married to Susie in Maine last year, then having a fake wedding? Well, yeah, of course anything is possible, but someone said that he made the comment that he can't be married because he's married to someone else at the time. So, not that made it very obvious that he was going to marry Susie. So I don't, who knows? But here's the thing is, anything to keep stuff stirred up. Goodness. All right. So then let's see. We got Veronica in the house. Did a marriage certificate exist between him and Micah? Yes. I know there were some issues about that. There was a thing saying that she wanted to see it to make sure who she was married to. Okay, Voices for Justice. Danielle, she just says she has a copy of it. Okay. Some of y'all writing some funny things, I'll tell you what. Oh, all right. So, okay, let's see. I am, hi, Chelsea. Nice to see you.
You ready for Veronica?
Yep. Veronica, are you there? Oh, who did that? That's so gorgeous. Thank you so much. Veronica.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sure can. Are we going to be looking at your picture here, or are we going to get to see your active face?
I'm trying to show you my face, how I do it. I don't know TikTok very well.
Yeah, I remember you do the other platforms. Oh, thank you for the origami dragon. There she is. Hey, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Doing okay. A lot of long travels to get here, right?
Yes. Yes, I'm so sorry about the last time. That was so unexpected.
Okay. Well, life happens, honey. We just have to roll with the punches and deal with it. So, well, I'm glad you made it here. So let's get to it because, an hour is a short amount of time and I got a couple other things I'm going to cover too. So I want to make sure we get to your questions. So
All right. Okay, I'm gonna start off with the one. Did Micah ever say anything to you about going to other attorneys and them denying her case when they found out who they'd be going up against? And did she ever talk about that with you? And what was it that made you want to take her case?
Yeah, okay, so that's a good question. As far as her going to other attorneys, I know that she had, as far as what they said to her and why they wouldn't have taken the case, that wasn't very clear. Sometimes lawyers don't take cases because either their caseload is, already at a level where they can't, you have to make sure that you maintain your caseload. It's not too many so you can give all the attention that you need to your clients. So as far as me taking her case, now she did tell me that she had called before that time to try to retain my services at that time. I personally, at that time, had stopped taking cases because I was at my maximum level at that time. So she ended up going to another attorney at that time. And then whenever this came back around, she checked back in to see if I was available. And at that time, I was taking uncontested cases was what I was primarily focusing on. So when we met, we discussed that, and as you and everybody else has probably heard me say, is Micah was just at a place she was ready to move on. Okay, she didn't want to go do a big, long, drawn out battle, divorce battle. And she certainly had grounds for divorce on, like adultery and a few other things. So she had the option to do that, but she really wanted to go the uncontested route. It just drives me crazy to think about it. I'd probably be in court with her sometime this month getting her that divorce because the 1 year had passed.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, and this going along with the FBI stuff, why wasn't the North Carolina FBI called in, and is South Carolina working with North Carolina FBI? And if there's some things I ask you can't answer, I mean, that's fine, I understand.
Yeah. So, obviously I expect you may ask me some questions that I really can't answer. But as far as what the FBI does, I don't have any internal knowledge. I'm not on their team or anything like that. So I don't want anybody to misconstrue that. I just said, because we had received a subpoena for certain things and we became aware of their presence, which of course we had to keep that under wraps at the time. And then after they did the search warrant, then cat was out of the bag, so to speak. So, but I don't know what they do internally. I just know what type of agency they are and how they operate. But I'm sure that they're looking into anything and everything that might be relevant to those things that they are investigating.
Okay. And you said on Fitz News, on the Fitz News interview, that you personally, which I know you went back and retracted on, that you personally served JP papers on that day. But you had also said or claimed
I'm sorry, I need to interrupt you on that because you got to go back and watch that very carefully. That's completely misstated. Okay. I was in the middle of answering the previous question when he asked the next one. So I was finishing up the previous question. Whenever I say you have to remember I served him, that's just language that we use. It's not me personally. The rules of civil procedure will not allow a party to the action to serve a lawsuit. Okay. And it also will not allow the attorney who represents the party to personally serve the lawsuit. So I have people who work for me that that do that. So whenever I say I had him served, and I should have said I had him served. Honestly, I can't remember now, but I do remember that I was answering a question because it made it sound like I had served or had him served on the same day that she passed. And I was answering a question. If you go back and watch it carefully, you'll see that I was actually finishing the answer to the prior question. And so that just kind of got twisted up because we talked over each other.
I understood, and you cleared that up very good on that part, I thought anyway. But
okay.
The statement that JP had told you that he made the comment to you specifically that, gosh, something must be really wrong because Regina Ward has been hired on the case. And we know nobody gets Regina Ward unless it's a big case. Did that conversation actually take place? And if so, how was that brought up between you and him? Did y'all actually have contact with each other for him to say that to you?
Yep, absolutely. He called my office multiple times, and he was self-represented. So we would talk to, at that time, he was self-represented. So when someone represents themselves, the lawyer can talk directly to the self-represented person. So, yeah, he thought that was a comment that he had made.
She froze up. Okay.
Who did? Me?
Yes.
What? But yeah, that was a comment that he had made, and I had just sort of giggled about it. I was like, "What?" I mean, because we weren't trying to do anything, that was, in terms of contested litigation, that wasn't it. But actually, as it turns out, it's my understanding that he attempted to call my office and get in to see me. So Micah beat him to the punch. So.
Right. Was that actually true that he had called your office too to see about a refund of the money that Micah had paid you?
Yeah.
Was it? I didn't doubt it, but I thought that was pretty entertaining. But let's see.
And just for the record, there are some people who, some lawyers who won't take cases because of who one of the litigants are, or sometimes who the lawyer is on the other side, for lots of different reasons, but as far as, if someone, what was the point I was going to make? Whenever lawyers take cases or turn down cases, it's for lots of different reasons. It's not, but sometimes it does have to do with the lawyer. Like there's a lawyer or two from way back in the day that if they were on the other side, don't get me wrong here, I'm not concerned, worried, intimidated by any party, any litigant, or any lawyer. Okay, but there are some that I would take a second thought about whether I would take the case or not, because sometimes certain lawyers, in my opinion, they do additional things that, in my opinion, are unnecessary. Therefore, it takes up more time and it drives up the cost of the case and just stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't really have time to deal with these kinds of things. I just want to, represent my client, and let's, apply the law as it applies and move forward. It's pretty straightforward a lot of times in family court.
Right, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Did not Michael, I'm sorry, my youngest son's name Michael. Did she give you a copy of all the evidence and like the thumb drives and journals, and I mean like any and everything that she had, and even gave along to her friends or family to hold on to for just in case? Did she give you any of that evidence, and was that evidence ever given to further people?
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I can't speak to what I had in my possession or what I've given, but anything that was requested by the investigative authorities was always turned over. So, and I really can't disclose, in detail what that is. But yeah, anything they ask for, happy to give it over.
Okay, all right. And do you know how many times that she tried to file for separation or divorce?
I think it was just 2 times, and then he did it 1 time. And I believe that, but the chronology, if I have it correct in my head, it was Micah filed first, and then they ended up, reconciling, bringing the roses, and once they reconciled, then he turned around and he filed an action, and then he turned around and dropped it, and so then some time passed, and then I think Micah wanted to get through the mission trip or something like that, and then she was ready to come back to it.
And I know a lot of the like misunderstandings and stuff is like what exactly you were hired for, and I know you stated that you did not, or she did not hire you for divorce, that it was just for separation.
That's right.
And for the restraining order, now, could the restraining order have been something that she handled on her own, or is it just better to have an attorney for that, or how does that work there?
Yeah, I think I've addressed that before. Here in South Carolina, if you're married, you have to go to family court to get your restraining orders, whether if it's an immediate imminent harm, danger, then of course, you report that to the police. You can get what's called an order of protection, which is through the family court. And as far as like going to the magistrate, that's not the place to go. As soon as you say, I'm married, they're going to say, ma'am, sorry, you need to take this to family court. That's how South Carolina works. So, we used to have here an attorney that was appointed to help. Thank you so much. Good to see you, Umbrella. Here in South Carolina, they used to have, lawyers that would help, people who are in DV situations to get their orders of protection. But that program got shut down, and so that's kind of sad. But some people still have to represent themselves in that. And then sometimes, for me, I personally think it's better to have an attorney, partly because when you go into court for an order of protection, those are like little mini trials. And so if you're representing yourself, then you're having to deal with your alleged abuser directly, and I don't like how that feels. So I would recommend, if you can get an attorney, to do that. And then if not, don't. It's still you need that kind of protection, then go do it. Okay, got time for about one more question or so. I don't know how many more you got there.
right. Let's see.
Hey, y'all, thank you so much for liking the live. I appreciate it. And the pink puffy hearts, I love those. And thank you for the other gifts. And don't forget to tap this live. It looks like, holy mess, we're up to 44,000 likes. Thank you so much. That's awesome.
Let's see. I don't know. I got several. Maybe we can do a part 2 one night.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe. All right, give me your most pressing one.
There's several.
Oh.
Okay, here's one. What, like, within what range or what can attorneys do to help their clients if they are in immediate danger? Like, did you ever believe that Micah was in danger, and what could have been done to, I guess, help her?
Yeah, and that's a really good question. I'm glad you brought that one up because that's an important one, because I've heard this over and over again. Like, she needed an order of protection right there. The way the court looks at it, okay, is if you are removed from the situation, which she was, remember she was living with her godmother. So she was removed from the situation. There was no imminent harm. Now we know more about this situation, but the way the court looks at it is there imminent harm right at that moment, okay? And so when a person, and plus they didn't have children together, okay? So there was no, when you have children together, there's a reason to have to interact, okay? And so you need those restraints to make people behave during those interactions. What is that thing? Oh, look at that. Thank you. Amber. Thank you so much. But yeah, so if the court would not have issued an emergency or and you can get those, you can get an expedited order of protection if you're in imminent harm. My credibility would be shot if I walked up to the judge and said, hey, I've got this client. She doesn't live in the house anymore. She's removed. She's actually got a new job. She has her own car, and we need an order of protection urgently. They'd be like, get to the back of the line, lady, because they would see her. Thank you so much for that, Sarah. They would see that as not as pressing because she's removed from that home, and therefore it's, plus she lived in a gated community too. So again, we know a lot more about that situation, but that's just how the court looks at it.
Right. So even with evidence of him putting the razor blades and doing other things to her, like I don't know if you said on TikTok, but the STALK stuff,
yeah.
Like does South Carolina not recognize that as a dangerous situation?
Yeah, well, see, that's another one of the problems that the law needs to get changed is because the car is considered marital property. And here in South Carolina, whenever you're married, even if your spouse is driving another car, if you want to go put razor blades in your car, you can. So that's one of those things. But it would have been evidence to present at the temporary hearing that we had scheduled.
Now, the car she had, the godmother's car, or the one she got with her godmother, now, was there never any blades put in that one? Was it just the one that she had with JP, or? Oh,
you know what? Honestly, I don't remember which one it was. Quite frankly, I don't remember.
Okay. All right.
But either way, you're still legally married. Any property you acquire in South Carolina, in state of South Carolina, okay, this could be different somewhere else. We're talking about state of South Carolina. It's presumed to be marital property whenever you purchase it during the marriage, even if you're separated. Okay, so that's again one of those things that needs to change here in the county. All right, one more and I'm out.
Okay, would you be willing to collaborate with other attorneys in order to get help get the corruption and help bring these laws? I guess like to provide more.
Thank you, Synergy Life.
Resources to other victims and things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what I've been doing for over a year now, pounding the pavement every day, and putting things together. And of course, yeah. And anybody's reached out to my office, about these things, I'm always offering up whatever. I've set up the the emails. I've written the letters for people to use, and made suggestions, got on here and on my squawk box, okay, and talked about these things. So obviously, yes, these things are very important to me. You have to remember, I was also a victim of coercive control abuse. So I know personally what that is and how it works and how devastating it is, and still to this day work on my own recovery from it.
Right.
Well, thank you so much, Veronica. I appreciate you coming up. That was very kind of you to take out your time and do that. And all good questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Well, stick around. Bye-bye. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about is we got like 15 minutes left. I think I got frozen for a minute. Okay, so there's a drum roll, please. An announcement I need to make about my personal life, but I also have another guest that I want to bring up to see if she is in the room yet. Laura, my baby bear.
I've already talked to her. Tell her to click yes.
Come on, hit click yes, accept it. Yes, there she is. I see you. Come on up.
She's private, so I can't see her.
Okay, let me see. Hold on.
I got her.
Come on. Hi, my freckle journey. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to catch up on some of these folks in here. How do I know how many folks are in here? 163 people are in here. That is amazing. Y'all, come on. Tap. Where is my guest? Okay, Laura joined. Okay, but you got kicked out. Who kicked you out? Let me see if I can do it.
Tell her to click yes.
Do you see? You're supposed to be able to click yes, Laura. Love you too, Stacy. Thank you so much. Tap her picture. Yeah, I did that. What made you take Micah's case? Oh, well, to begin with, I mean, she's just an absolute beauty in terms of her heart. Immediately could tell that about her. And she was ready to move on. And, that's my job as an attorney, is to help people in those situations. So why would I not take her case? I'm kind of intrigued by that question all the time. Why'd you take her case? Well, that's my job. That's what I do. And when I met with her, I liked her, and she was, she needed some help getting out of there. And I was happy to do it. I just wish I would have had her case the first go around too. And of course, with anything, hindsight's always 20/20. And I carry these thoughts sometimes about was there something outside, something different I could have done? Because I think everybody goes through that. Oh, thank you. Was that Taylor? Thank you. Oh, I love that crystal thing. Taylor T, thank you. Oh. Okay, I'm missing my Laura. Melissa and Zoe, I see you there. Mary MM48. I see some rando. Synergy Live. Annette. Okay. That's not the right person. Okay, let me see. Here, I'll say something here. Here it is. There it is.
Wait.
I think I got it. There it is! Yay!
Hi.
Hi, how are you, my baby bear?
Good.
Oh, glad we got that figured out. There she is. Hi.
Hi.
You doing okay?
I am. I've never done this before, so I'm like,
Well, you're doing a fabulous job so far. Okay, so you and I have talked, and you're going to help me out with this announcement that I have. And so I guess I'll do that now, and then you can chime in your part, okay? All right, so as you know, I have been practicing law for about 20 years now, a little over 20. You know, I'm 61 years old. I'll be applying for my Social Security in a few months. So I'm not retiring, okay? I don't know how to live retired, I think, at this point. But what I am doing is something that I'm very excited about that I hope is going to help a lot of people. And that is, it just drives me crazy that people will stay married because they feel like they can't afford an attorney to get a divorce, and especially the ones that have simple cases, you know. And so we have this thing in South Carolina now that's called, thanks, you know, some good things come out of COVID. It's a no court divorce. We have those in South Carolina. Now you have to meet certain requirements. Now, I can't help you in other states, obviously. I can only help you in South Carolina. But I have like a 5-question process. You can call my office and we'll go through the questions. I'm actually working on the website. Hopefully that'll be up in July, so you can go through the website and look at that. My goal is to offer a no court divorce, which means it's uncontested. There'll be, you know, there can't be any children to fight over in the case. Those require agreements that must be approved by the court, which I'll do those too. But anyway, this process, drum roll, my baby bear there was one of my first, she was my guinea pig. How did we do?
You killed it. It was perfect. This process.
Yeah, so it was a very easy process, right? Yeah, and in fact, one of the big things is you have to have either your property has to already be divided or none to divide, no children to fight over. At least one of you has to live in South Carolina. And then after that, the waiver of spousal support, if you're even entitled to it. And whenever you check all those boxes, then you qualify for that. And then the biggest thing is we have to know where the other party is, and they also have to be willing to sign the paperwork. So I always laugh when people go, he won't sign the divorce papers. And I used to laugh all the time and go, I don't need you to sign the daggone papers. I can still get you divorced. But in this, the no court divorce, and that's what it means, y'all. You do not go to court to get divorced, but you have to have an attorney to do the paperwork for you. And because the attorney has to certify, first of all, they are real people, that you were married, that you've met all the requirements to get a divorce, and the lawyer has to certify that. So once we got all your paperwork together, how long after we did the submission did you get your divorce decree?
It took a whole 72 hours. So it was very, very quick.
Yes, and we did. You had to do an affidavit stating that you'd been separated for a year, and talk about those other things. And also, your ex-spouse had to do the same thing. And then I certified those, and then you have to have one witness to do an affidavit as well that corroborates that you've been separated for a year. So that was the other key component, is you already have to be separated for 1 year to qualify for this. But I'm super excited about it. But yeah, 72 hours for her. When I called her up and said that, she's like, what?
Yeah, I thought you were kidding. I was like, there's no way. And you're like, I'm serious. And you and I like screamed on the phone together. We were so excited.
Oh, and you know, it just killed me over the years where people, seriously, y'all, there are people who remain married and have totally separate lives for years, and they don't get a divorce because it can get expensive. So the thing that I'm offering is I've been working on the process, with Laura being part of my testing model here. So I've made all these templates and organized this process and a 1, 2, 3, 4 so that we can do it, streamline the process, training my staff to do that, and then also making sure that that it's affordable. I haven't got the final price on it yet because we're still working through the mechanics of that, but my goal is for it to be less than $1,000 for the attorney fees. And the other thing is I'm going to offer payment plans. So if you need to make a payment plan on something like that too, then we're working on that, putting a pay link and putting that up to help people get divorced, because you know, even if you've moved on, and like I said, I've seen people who have totally separate lives for years and live in different parts of the state or even different places. Like one may have moved out of the state or whatever, which is fine too, as long as one person still lives here. And every time I've asked, I'm like, you've been separated for 8 years. Why did you get a divorce already? And they're like, it was just too expensive. And I'm like, good Lord, 8 years. Crazy stuff too. I had another lady had been separated for like 12 years, and I was like, my Lord, why'd you wait so long? But even though you have moved on in a situation like that, people have already adopted new lifestyles and different people in their life and stuff, and so it's like. But really, once you get that paperwork, it actually changes for you. Don't you feel like that's like it's a closure thing?
Yep, absolutely. So we just had to be organized, which we were, and then you did the hard part, and then it was done. So.
Yeah. Okay, so I will be making some more posts in the future about what to expect whenever the website is up. I'm hoping we're going to get to launch that in the early part of July. I really wanted to have it already done before we got here today, but that didn't work out. So anyway, I'm going to be working on that. And welcome to call my office, and we do what we call a free divorce application too, where they can call in. My staff will go through those series of questions, and if you check those boxes, then you'll qualify for the no court divorce, at least on the front end. Then it'll come to me, and then I will get to look through that and make certain that it is, make sure that the person who's applying for it is not giving up any special rights that they may have. We don't want that to happen either. So this is for a very specific group of people who are qualified for it, that are not giving up anything that they're entitled to, unless they really want to, but basically making sure that we're making that divorce affordable, making it, and the other thing is you don't have to miss work. You don't have to take a day off to go to court. You don't have to convince a friend to go to court with you.
It's also important to touch upon the witness didn't have to go in person or anything like that. So.
Yeah, don't miss work, don't miss class or whatever you got going on there. So. Well, thank you so much for doing that and sharing with everybody that you were my baby bear guinea pig.
And I'm honored.
And most everything we'll be able to do online too. So we have to get some what we call wet signatures, in the office and notarize things. But really, if everybody's got things lined up and we know where the other person is and they're going to be cooperative, they will sign the papers. That's key. Okay.
Just really quick, a few people asked, do you have to be separated for a year in order to?
Yes. So in South Carolina, and again, remember, I'm only licensed in South Carolina. So yes, that's one of the key components is you have to already be separated for 1 year, because if you're not, then the way to get a divorce in South Carolina is you have to have what we call grounds for a divorce. In South Carolina, that's physical cruelty, adultery, and habitual alcohol or drug use, that kind of stuff. So if you have grounds for a divorce, you can get a divorce, but you can't do it on a no court. No court is the only way to qualify for that. Basically means that the court doesn't have to make any decisions about anything other than the divorce, and that's it. So if you've not been separated for a year, then you won't qualify for that, but you may have grounds for divorce on other bases, but won't get that no court divorce. And then the other part that I plan on doing too, and I've already been working on, is setting up creating templates for people to even represent themselves. Now, of course, the state of South Carolina has a packet of paperwork that you can buy from the courthouse and represent yourself. But I've had so many people come to my office going, what do I do with all this stuff? They get confused and it's just not as, user friendly. So I've developed my own packet that I'm putting together, and I would like, howdy, ma'am. I don't know, with a mustache. So anyway, that's the other aspect that I'm working on too, is creating the packet. So if people want to just represent themselves, which means they won't pay any fees other than buying the packet and then the filing fee that the court requires. So that will be available too, but that usually means you have to appear in court on that type of deal. So hi, Melissa. Thank you so much. Hi. Ooh, thank you, Matthew. And then the other aspect is for those who this is another thing that has happened too. Debbie, you are so generous. Thank you so much. Is that people, they may be separated and have kids, but they actually co-parent and get along with each other as best they can. If they have figured out some sort of schedule between the kids and handled support and all that kind of stuff. Well, what those people don't know, thank you for the pink puppy hearts. What those people don't understand is they actually have an agreement. We just need to reduce it to writing. And then once we reduce it to writing and they sign off on it, then I can get them an uncontested divorce. Now, we'll have to appear in court, but it'll be uncontested. And it's another way. I'm trying to develop what's called a flat fee divorce system so people don't get caught in this, hourly deal where in situations that it's not really necessary. So if you walk in knowing something's going to cost you X amount of dollars, then you can budget for that. And then you also can plan for that, And so that was the other big thing that I want to try to focus my practice on. So I won't be doing any more contested divorces. I won't be doing any more contested custody cases. Only the uncontested stuff and only the, or not only, but the no court divorce and the simple. Okay. Well, thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
I like your shirt.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much. As I said, I'll put out some videos in the, well, goodness, you just dropped down, didn't say goodbye. So anyway, I'm going to put out some videos to educate what I'm doing a little better. You'll have something to go look at. So, and please spread the word if you know anyone who lives in South Carolina, or even if they last lived in South Carolina as husband and wife, then I can get them divorced. And if they've already been separated for the 1 year and meet all of those requirements, then we can get them divorced with a no court process, or at least a simplified process and an affordable process, which is my goal, is to create a process that's affordable so you can get out of those situations. Okay, let's see. Well, I think that's about it. I do want to, let me see, let me look at my notes real quick. All right, yep. So the last thing is, I'd like to close out with your Micah hug. And thank y'all so much. We ended up with 87,000 likes. Wow, thank you so much. And I think we exceeded my pink puffy heart there. So have a good night. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Please check back on my site or my TikTok page, and I'll start updating or uploading. I can't talk now. I'll be uploading some information about what the plan is in the future. And thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. And y'all have a wonderful night. And here's your Micah hug. Good night.